As the debate about free speech on college campuses rages, the conversation has begun to focus on the top donors to these schools, many who have threatened to pull significant amounts of money based on what they see as growing anti-Semitism on campuses, and university leaders who seem unwilling or unable to address it. But there may be another factor at play that few are discussing. These same universities, the ones that seem to treat anti-Semitism less seriously than just about any other type of discrimination, have received billions of dollars, billions from Arab countries. A report from the American-Israeli Cooperative Enterprise reveals between 1986 and 2022, foreign sources gave nearly $44 billion to American universities. 10.8 billion of that came from Arab countries. Qatar, for example, which has close ties with Hamas, is playing a sort of mediating role in the conflict, is the top donor, handing out $5.1 billion worth of funding to American colleges. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates round out the top three. Cornell University is the #1 university to secure foreign donations. The same school that struggled to condemn Hamas off the bat. The initial statement said, "The loss of human life is always tragic, whether caused by human actions such as terrorism, war, mass shootings, or by natural disasters such as earthquakes, fires, or floods. Because terrorism, of course, is just like floods and fires." All in, Arab donors have funneled more than $1.8 billion to Cornell. Other top recipients of big Arab money include Georgetown, Carnegie Mellon, Northwestern, Harvard University, and MIT, whose presidents just testified to much criticism on Capitol Hill, are among the top 15. Harvard has gotten nearly $230 million from Arab countries. So there are growing calls for the presidents of both these schools to resign. Harvard has acknowledged its foreign funding before, by the way. 2018, Douglas Elmendorf, the dean of Harvard's Kennedy School, told the paper The Harvard Crimson, Kennedy School has accepted money from Saudi Arabia for various research projects and teaching activities. But here's what's really interesting. Between 2015 to 2020, those universities that did take money from Middle Eastern countries on average experienced 300% more anti-Semitism than the schools that did not accept funding, according to the Network Contagion Research Institute, an organization focused on cyber threats. So here's my question. Are these foreign funds, particularly money coming from Arab countries, impacting schools' response to anti-Semitism and the war in the Middle East? And why are so few talking about this? Join us now, Gabriel Diamond, a senior at Yale University who co-wrote an op-ed for The Hill titled "Pro-Terrorist Cash is Funding U.S. Higher Ed and Taxpayers Should Be Upset About It." Thanks very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. So why should taxpayers be upset?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. Taxpayers should be upset because their money is subsidizing the same universities that are receiving billions of dollars from Gulf states, which are supporting Middle Eastern studies departments, professors. They're supporting students that are hosting pro-Hamas rallies on campus. Over the past 5 years, the federal government has provided 10 universities, just 10, the 8 Ivy Leagues plus Stanford and Northwestern, with $33 billion. That's $6.6 billion every year to just 10 universities, and that's coming from taxpayer money. Every taxpaying American has an interest in this issue, and they should be upset that their money is subsidizing the same universities that are receiving terrorist funding.
And do you think that there's a connection between the university response and Arab money? I mean, look, there is a conspiracy element to that, right? So you could argue it's a little conspiratorial to believe that. I tend to be not a conspiracy theorist, but what do you make of it?
It's not conspiratorial at all. What's happening here is, if you look, there's a clear connection between a lot of these organizations. Students for Justice in Palestine is connected with American Muslims for Palestine. And American Muslims for Palestine is connected with the Holy Land Foundation and the Islamic Association for Palestine, which have been found civilly liable for supplying Hamas with millions of dollars in direct funding. And if these universities are receiving funding from Qatar, which is one of the most prominent financial backers of Hamas, these universities have an incentive to not upset their students and professors, to make sure that they can keep receiving the funding from Qatar, from Gulf states, and also, we haven't even mentioned here that they're receiving a lot of money from China. This was found by the U.S. Department of Education.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.